Injury concerns, I'm afraid, dominate the latest training reports. Friday, July the 4th, took Hoshoryu to Isegahama stable for the second day straight, but he cut short a promising session with Hakuoho and Kusano, citing concerns with his left big toe. With Kirishima also there waiting to take him on, and forced to up his bout count with Hakuoho and Terunofuji instead, Shoryu said, "I wanted to fight Kirishima, but that might have only worsened the problem. All I can say from the few bouts I did is that Kusano should become a good sparring partner." Kusano himself, who went 0-3 against the Yokozuna, said, "It was good I was seen attacking, as if I'd fallen to feeble defeat, people would think I was all hype and no substance. Now to deal with the Nagoya heat, which will average 37 degrees over the next 3 days." News of Hoshoryu's knock followed hot on the heels of a Thursday evening report on Kotozakura, which stated he could only do basic exercises that day as he'd hurt his neck. That problem surfaced mere hours after his session on Wednesday morning, during which he'd fought around 15 times with Wakatakakage and co. The embattled Ozeki explained, "I have to consider now what is a decent bout count to get through, but the heat on its own can likely get me moving better than usual." His stable as a whole, though, is feeling in buoyant mood right now, after winning its 2-year legal battle with ex-wrestler Koto Kantetsu, who sued Sadogatake and Sumo chiefs for effective unfair dismissal. I advise you, if you have lots of time, to plug his various tweets on the case into ChatGPT to grasp the arguments raised. Kantetsu essentially tried to test the waters on whether Sumo's tyrannical management structures can be held legally responsible for boxing a wrestler into such a corner that he quits against his will. The stable employed a celebrity lawyer to argue that Kantetsu had long been planning to quit by himself and that he was simply a difficult person. Kantetsu is currently mooting whether to appeal. Chairman Hakkaku has publicly stated that he pays homage to the court for its wise decision to refuse all of the plaintiff's unreasonable demands. No reforms stemming from that, then. Elsewhere, Friday saw Onosato continue putting Hananomi through the toughest of workouts. The two fought 18 times that day, and with proper charging involved, and Hananomi scored 5 wins. "He never holds back, so I can hit him with all I have," Onosato revealed. "I desperately want him to reach salaried level before this year is out, and I'm really trying to get him there." Sato also disclosed that July the 3rd was a stable holiday in honor of the Master's 39th birthday. "We all bought him a cake and had some nice downtime," the Yokozuna said. "I still feel I'm in good shape, and may well get round to other stables after Saturday's ring-entering ceremonies at Atsuta Shrine." Interestingly, Manabu Suzuki of Sankei Sports writes that one of his paper's sumo advisors is far from enamored of Onosato's foot sliding. "If the guy does it properly, his feet should leave 2 straight lines on the ring," said the, we presume, retired wrestler. But, the man continues, "Onosato's tracks in the ring look arc-shaped, which means power is leaking out of the medial side of the foot, thereby decreasing his forward momentum." That was an observation based on Sato's training in May. Let's see if he's since improved. The question of who will win this tournament was put to coaches Isegahama and Minatogawa in a Nagoya TV studio. The ex-Terunofuji wrote straight up, "Hoshoryu," but the ex-Takakeisho far more cryptically wrote, "A wrestler who usually wilts in the heat," and pushing and thrusting. Asked to elaborate, he said, If everything goes as normal, the two Yokozuna are favourites, but they must beware pitfalls. The old Nagoya arena saw pushers and thrusters like me particularly struggle. Our foes would be sweating too much, and our hands would just slide off their skin. Even just noticing their sweat pre-bout was enough to make me think, here we go again, another slippery one today. And the changing rooms would be so hot as to make you feel lightheaded. But now they have proper air conditioning in this new arena, I think pushers and thrusters will have their field days. Finally, Ryusho Kawakami, a quarter-finalist at last year's All Japan Student Nationals, has turned pro with Oitekaze stable and is set to debut this month. A three-time winner of student titles, who stands 187 centimeters and weighs 125 kilos, Kawakami is a fledgling master of the grapple. Better on the belt, I would say, than even his older brother, Ryuko, who made it to salaried level. Ryusho Kawakami has officially joined as Daieisho's personal student, the second one so far, thus further boosting the widespread belief that the current Sekiwake wants to manage his own stable one day. And should he somehow last another 6 years in the ring, he could directly inherit Oitekaze.